I'm Bob the Cigar Guy. This is Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and I have got a mail call. I have got something that got me excited when it came to my mailbox, and I get to sit down here and smoke it with you. What is that? Look at this little banner I put up there. The Chef's Edition 2025 by Davidoff. Their packaging is always on point. Look at how gorgeous that is. That Davidoff script, when you see that script, you know you are in for a smoking experience of excellence, of elevation, of deliciousness, of delightfulness, of the loveliness. You know you are going to have a moment. I highly recommend you not smoke this when you're busy doing something else. Take some time off for yourself. Allow yourself to enjoy the experience of the cigar that has been prepared by you for you by Davidoff. Right now, not only did I get this, I got this cute little chef's apron, right? And I thought I'd wear it, but you wouldn't see it because it's from here up. So I didn't do that. But Chief has put some pictures, some gorgeous pictures. That boy does some good work. Check out our Instagram, check out our Facebook, check out our this or that or the other thing. And you'll see the artistry that he has put. It is so good. If I would have taken pictures of it and put it on Instagram, it just would not have been right, because this cigar is so elevated. Davidoff is a company par excellence that you got to have that polish. You got to have that shine. You got to have that attention to detail. And Chief has that when it comes to cameras now and photography. Now, if you had him roll cigars, I don't think we would be having them a Davidoff line. There would not be a Chief's blend Davidoff. There dang sure wouldn't be a Bob the Cigar Guy blend a Davidoff, but because Davidoff does great stuff. But let me put on my glasses, because luckily, when they sent me the press release or whatever you want to call it, it's nice and short. It's cute. It's pretty. It's got that. See, they do their thing, right? There's not even a cigar in there, but you know you're going to get a great smoking experience by looking at this. And then I've got a little bit of information on here, and I'm going to read this to you. We're going to get in here and smoke this thing. The Chef's Edition 2025, presented by the finest palates in the world. Fine dining and premium cigars share deep parallels, and they do, because you're tasting, right? So when 5 of the world's foremost curators of fine dining lent their talent for tasting discernment to our team of cigar creators, unsurprisingly, the result of something from the very top table of flavor. Crafted with rare Dominican tobaccos aged up to 15 years. See, Davidoff, number one, they got tobaccos for tobaccos for tobaccos for tobaccos. They got a lot to pick and choose from. It's real hard to make a gourmet meal when you only got macaroni and cheese in a box and some hot dogs. You ain't gonna zhuzh that up very much. But if you've got every amazing ingredient, you can make some amazing things. Elevated through unique Yagua palm leaf aging process. This is the thing that really piqued my curiosity. I smoked a cigar that had been aged in Yagua leaves, and it gives a neat experience. It really does. The blend reveals layers of freshness, smoothness, and remarkable complexity. It is a cigar shaped by precision, patience, and the finest palates in the world. All right, so that's it. Other than there, it said, "Hey, put your apron on and show pictures if you like it. Tell people about it." And so I haven't smoked it yet, but I know this is going to be a great smoking experience. I don't know. Look how pretty that is. Look how pretty that is. That's so gorgeous right there. Look at them. It's like they're talking to each other. Hey, I'm going to get smoked. No, I'm going to get smoked. All right. Anyway, sorry. See, that's why I don't take those pictures. But there they are. They're gorgeous. That gorgeous band with that little pearling gold around the edge. That the Chef's blend, the Chef's Edition 2025 right there. Look at the color on that wrapper. Oh my gosh. Look at how smooth. Do you see a seam on there? I don't see a seam on there. Did they make this tobacco in the shape of a tube and just put the rest of the binder and the filler up in there? And they just, I don't know. I don't think that's possible, but if it was, Davidoff would do it, I believe. So let me put that off to the side. Hopefully I can give that one to Chief before I smoke it myself, because I really want to get into it. Now this joker right here, that's at least a 6-incher. That's a 58, maybe 56, 58. Nice, big, beefy stick. This is going to be a couple minutes. This is going to be a 3-course meal at least. Let me cut this thing with my Camacho cutter. Yeah, I got a Camacho cutter. That thing right there. right? I ain't got Davidoff cutter, but I got a Camacho cutter. And Camacho is part of the Davidoff family. Camacho, Avo, Zeno, Nicaragua, Baccarat. All those great blends. Am I missing anything? Davidoff, Camacho, Avo, Zeno, Nicaragua, and Baccarat. No, I got it covered. And the thing is, Davidoff did an amazing thing by saying, yes, we want to reach the masses and get everybody to experience a good moment of smoking a cigar. And so we are going to put out something for everybody, different flavor profiles, different price points, different blends, different sizes, different whatevers. And instead of them saying, we're just going to do a warehouse of cigars, we are going to dedicate each and every experience, all the different experiences, to a different house. The houses of Davidoff. So Davidoff, if you want that elegant, gorgeous white glove, highbrow experience, celebratory experience, right? You want to get yourself something that's got a little smoothness, a little jazz, a little blues, a little You get in that Avo, right? And then if you want to get into something that's exclusive, you get into that Zeno. And if you want to get into something that's just that whole Jimmy Buffett vibe, you get into that Zeno Nicaragua, right? Then if you want to get something rough and rugged, you want to get some American, you want to get some raw, right? You want to get some savage going on. You grab your Camacho. Oh, Camacho. And then if you want to try something different, if you want to try something that not everybody's got a hold to, if you want to try something that's just off the beaten path, get you a Baccarat. Holy smokes. I'm not going to talk about it yet because I'm only 4 puffs in. But holy smokes. One thing I like about this, the chef's blend, the concept. They didn't go to a bunch of chefs and say, hey, chefs, so what foods do you like? What kind of flavor cigar would you think would pair well with it? What this, that, and the other. And then they give them their opinions and they say, hey, we're going to give you some money. And you're going to say that we like this cigar. Or this is the blend that we would use to go with a meal. Or this is just a blend that reaches the flavor pinnacle that we search for when we are putting a meal out for somebody in a cigar form. They don't do that. What they do is they get some of the titans of their industry, some of the master blenders of food, and they pair them up with the master blenders of tobacco, the Davidoff family. And they have a conversation, they build a relationship, and they get out there and they taste and test, and they tweak, and they dance, and they play, and they create in the kitchen. They go in there and they see all of these great, delicious raw materials in tobacco, and they get an education, and they learn about how the different growing process. This crop was the plants were bunched together, so they didn't get much light at the bottom, so they're going to be a little smoother and creamier. We spread this one out a little bit, and we made sure we got some heat down the bottom, so we got a little bit of spicy and minerality in turned earth. We didn't top this. We let this grow out so that some of the aggression left in the flowers and the top of the plant, and so the leaves are a little bit smaller, but they're a little bit on the mellower side. And then we took and we cut it stalk cut, hung it upside down in the barn in stalks, so that all the nutrients and all the soil notes started to go into the leaves as they dried in the barn, in the curing barn. Or we cut these off in different primings. We cut off the big leaves at the bottom. We waited a couple days. We cut some more. We waited a couple days. We cut some more, and so what that did was that caused those top leaves to just get a little bit more flavor, more fullness, more raw. Then We got an pilon process, the fermentation process, where we let that thing sit for 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years, depending on the leaf. We played around with the temperature and the humidity, so that as we let the things that don't need to be in the tobacco just evacuate out into the air, we allow those sugars, those starches, to turn into sugars and become this deliciousness, this wonderfulness, this amazingness. And then we start picking out the flavors that we want to build our meal out of, and we put it in a blend. And then we started playing around with it. We started putting different tobaccos next to other tobaccos, and that changed the experience as well. You spend a lot of time rolling a lot of little cigars and trying and tasting and say, all right, this is good, but not great. Well, this is great, but not Davidoff. This is Davidoff. Then I said, but now wait, we gotta let this age for a little while. We gotta let it sit for a little while. Let the outside dry out a little bit, because the wrappers are wet, and we let them dry a little bit, and we add a little moisture to the filler so that it all normalizes. Let's set it on fire and see how much smoke we get. Do we got good smoke? Let's see. Do we got chewy smoke? The flavors, do they hit your palate? Do they waft across your tongue? Do they hang on there like gravy? And then when you blow out the smoke and you're waiting to take your next puff, is it something that just doesn't taste very good, so you start chasing something to drink in between because it's just not for you? The flavor's great, but the aftertaste was How do we make sure all that is perfect? And then we go back and we just adjust and we tweak. And then we age again. Then we get together and we taste it. We say, you know what? That is worthy. Putting that little white and gold band on with that gorgeous Davidoff script on. And everybody that is involved in it say, I'm proud to sign my name to this cigar. It is their hope, like any other manufacturer, to sell this cigar. Right? They're not hobbyists. They're making it for money. But they know, Davidoff knows, part of their culture is that they don't want you to buy one. They want you to buy more. How do you buy more? Well, you can sell them for a nickel a piece. Nobody does that. Or you can make them so good at a price point that makes sense. To where you say, you know what? I really found that worth my time and worth my money. Davidoff's been around a long time. You can't be around a long time and be a high-level brand without making sure that you do everything you can through quality, through blend, through experiences, to make sure that the end consumer, you and me, get to enjoy something phenomenal. To where we say, you know what? I do that again. Now, I've done a lot of talking. Let's get into flavors. The first thing that hits me on this cigar is how smooth it is. It is extremely smooth. There's a darker, creamy quality to it. In there rolling around. Now, this is a complex blend. You can smoke this and say this tastes like, and pull out 3 or 4 notes, or you can really dive in and you can weave between the big notes and find the small notes. And there's a lot of small notes. I find myself pulling a lot of small notes. Proofed bread, something I rarely taste. A dark caramel, just a little bit, maybe a butterscotch, a little less sweet than butterscotch. That's why I said dark caramel. A little coffee notes, a little bit. a little umami experience. Umami. Umami. No, umami. It's something that all right. Umami attaches to your glutamine receptors. Some people would say you have an extra taste bud now they found, which is called pasta, which is an American thing. Americans have it more than others. That's why I like pasta so much. I don't know if that's a bunch of bunk. But that satiation, umami hits your glutamine receptors. That's why people say Chinese food, you eat it, and an hour later you're hungry again, because it gives you that cessation of you want more. You feel satisfied. It's a comfort food kind of thing. And you get that in pastas, you get that in rices, and you get that in everything else. Chinese food uses MSG, monosodium glutamate, which attaches to glutamine receptors, which causes that experience. I'm not saying that they put MSG in here. No. But it has that umami quality. There's a fullness in it. The highlight, not the highlight, the flavor is the highlight, but one of the things that really sticks out to me is the finish. It is so smooth. It is so creamy. This would be a cigar that I would want to grab to and smoke as my last cigar at the end of the night, because I smoke a lot of heavy cigars. I do, flat out. That's my lane. But at the end of the night, when you have heavy cigars, sometimes you got that heavy taste rocking around in your mouth for the rest of the night, right? You just, oh, that's a lot. Yeah, I have me something. It's a trade-off. But this really doesn't have that. It just has a smooth quality. It just is nice. Like after you eat, oh, it doesn't taste like this, but it gives me that same experience. Lima beans and ham hocks. Good lima beans and ham hocks. Mama done cooked them on the stove all day long. They done cook down, and then you take them out, you put them in the refrigerator. The next day, you skim that fat off the top of it, and you heat it back up. And you can't tell where the bean stops and the juice starts, and the ham is falling off in little bitty bite-sized chunks. And you eat that, and you're just ready to put the lazy boy up and take a nap, because you just feel done. You feel finished. You feel full. You feel complete. This does that. Now, Chef's editions are limited. Chef editions are different every year. That's why it says 2025. I highly recommend you look into acquiring this as a nice meal. You are not going to pay McDonald's prices for this. You're going to pay steakhouse prices for this. But I don't mind going into a steakhouse if it gives me a steakhouse experience. I don't. And this gives me that steakhouse experience. Do not be focused on other things when you're doing this. Enjoy the cigar because they made it for you to enjoy. If they had Michelin stars for Chef's Edition Davidoff cigars, this would have one or two or three. I don't know how much that works, but I know when you say you have a Michelin star, that's a big deal. So I think this fits that bill. I'm going to go. I usually shut this off. I'm going to be transparent. I usually shut this off. Then I go to editing. I throw the cigar in my mouth and I just do. I'm not doing that today. I'm actually going to shut this off. I'm going to cut some music on, and I'm going to sit here and just take in the Chef's Experience, the Chef's Edition 2025 by Davidoff. And then I'm going to go to work. I'm going to take a nap. So I'll see you later. Leave me a comment. Tell me what your favorite Davidoff is. I would like to know. I would. It'd be kind of cool. I'll see you later. Later, Tater.